What's up everyone, Mandy here from On The Grow, and today I'm going to show you how you can grow arugula microgreens using soil. So let's get growing. Alright, so today I'm going to show you guys how you can grow arugula microgreens. For this grow, we are going to be using soil. Usually we use coco coir, but we wanted to switch it up this time and do something that's more widely available. So what we have here is we have our Pro Mix, and this is the organic seed starting variety of Pro Mix. What you want to look for whenever you use a soil to grow microgreens is a seed starting mix. It will give you the best drainage and also retain water perfectly for this type of grow. So that's what we're going to be using today. I'm actually going to set this on the ground so it doesn't fall. So for this grow, we're going to need 3 different trays. As you can see here, I have my bottom tray, which is a no-hold 10-20, and later this is going to house our bottom watering whenever we get to that point. Next, you have your tray, which will hold your medium, and as you can see here, there's little slits in it, so that way whenever we begin bottom watering, it can pull the water through via capillary action and actually water your crop. Lastly, you're going to need your top tray. This is going to act as what is going to hold our weight and also later flip into our Blackout. But for now, I'm going to set this aside. Okay, so let's go over the soil real quick. So what I went ahead and did is I already added my soil to this, and I just took my hands and I spread this out to get it as even as I possibly could. I also left just a tiny bit of gap, which is perfect because what you're going to do later is set this on top, and that way it sits nice and sturdy on top of the seed. And then also if you see any areas that have any clumps, be sure to just crumble those up like we do with the coco coir, and that way it doesn't affect any of the germination. So now let's move on to the seeding. So what you're going to need is your seed. For us today, we're going to be using the Arugula slow bolt variety. I don't know why that's always so hard for me to say that together, but it is. And you're going to need some way of measuring that out. I've already gone ahead and measured out my 15 grams of seed, which is equal to 1 big heaping tablespoon. So now that we have done that, what we're going to do is begin seeding our tray. So I like to do it by just putting a little bit in my hand and just kind of wiggle your hand around. Try to get as even as you possibly can. Sometimes on soil it's a little bit harder to see, especially depending on what kind of soil you're using. But luckily with this brand, it's actually not too bad. Okey-doke. Let me try and knock the rest of that out of there. And let's set that aside. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take our mister, which is on the mist setting, and it's just hooked up to regular filtered tap water. And we're just going to give this a nice light mist. You can already see how good the drainage and water retention is on this soil. Because some soils, what you'll notice is whenever you go to water it, it'll be super powdery. The water will just end up staying on top, and you really don't want that. You want soil that just kind of lets it absorb into it, but also it stays wet on the soil itself. So I think that is pretty good there. So after you finish watering your arugula seed, what you're going to begin noticing is that these seeds will start to get kind of a sticky coating around them. That is because they are mucilaginous. So what's going to happen whenever we put our top tray on top of this and add our weight, we'll have a lot of seed holes stuck to it, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. So now that we have our tray on top, what that's going to do is it's going to help trap all that humidity in there, so that way we can get really great germination. And it's also going to hold our weight, which we're going to go ahead and put on top. So let's put our 15-pound paver right on top of this tray. And now I'm just going to put this on the shelf. And later tonight, I'm going to come back out, double check it. If it needs another misting on top, I'm going to go ahead and give it a light misting. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. It is day 1 of our arugula grow. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pull it off the shelf and take a peek at it. So let's take the brick and place that out of our way. And now we're going to carefully pull this up because these seeds are mucilaginous. As you can see here, a lot of them are stuck on there, and that just kind of happens with seeds like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to tap what we can off. It might be a little bit difficult, and that's okay. So we got some of it come off, not all of it's going to come off, and that's perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set that out of my way. And as we can see on here, whoop, got a little bit stuck on me. Just trying to break apart a little clump. As you can see here, there's a little bit of roots starting to happen. So that means these are beginning to germinate, which is awesome. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my hose on the mist setting, and we're just going to give this a nice light mist. Make sure they're all good. You don't want to overwater it. Okay, and I'm actually gonna do something a little weird, but I'm gonna lightly mist the top of this so those that are stuck on here get a little bit of water too. And now I'm going to take my tray, and I believe it was like this. I'm just gonna put it back the way that I had it before. And what should happen is as those radicals start to drive into the soil, it should pull itself away from the tray on its own. So I'm not too worried about that right now. Back on top, very gently, and we're going to put it back on the shelf. So later tonight, I'm gonna come back out. I'm gonna do that exact same process, give it a nice mist on both the tray if there's still some stuck on there, and on the actual medium itself. So I'll see you tomorrow. It is day 3 of our arugula grow. So let's go ahead and pull this off this shelf and look at what's going on. So first, I'm going to remove my brick and move it aside. And now let's remove our tray. So it looks like we got really great germination. I'm really not seeing any seed holes, and there's not really any stuck on this tray either, so it's perfect. Everything is looking really good. And we do have a little bit of roots, so we're gonna mist it again just like yesterday. Let's go ahead and give this a light mist across the top. And then we'll give it a light mist underneath. That way these roots stay happy. Okay, so now that we have finished misting it, what we're going to do is we're going to take our tray that was like this with a brick on top of it and reverse it to blackout like this. The reason being is whenever I take a peek at this, I can already see that these are ready to get the brick removed, because if I leave it any longer, these are just gonna get super duper wobbly, and we don't want that. We want these to stand up straight. And also by putting it into blackout, it will allow the crop to get taller, because with arugula, if you take it out of blackout too soon, it tends to stay very, very short, and we want to get tall enough where we can harvest it and get a good harvest weight. So we're going to do blackout, and I'll see you in about 3 to 4 days whenever we're ready to remove this. So let's put it on the shelf. It is day 5 of our arugula grow. So let's look at what we have going on. Bum, bum, bum. So our crop is at a very good height, and we got really uniform germination. There is one little low spot right here, but I'm not too worried about that. So what we're going to do today is we will remove it from blackout and introduce it to the light, because over the last 2 days we had this in blackout, and I think I got to the height that I want it at. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bottom water it. So let's go ahead and get our ocean solution. Perfect, and our roots are looking very, very happy. Still nice and white. Those are some good looking roots. So now let's go ahead and put this into the light. And I will see you guys on harvest day. Today is day 12 of our arugula grow, and these have been in the light now for 7 days. So as you can see, everything is looking perfect, and today is actually going to be harvest day. So we decided to harvest it today because we are already getting our true leaf on some of these leaves, and everything is looking really awesome at this point. Some things that you want to be aware of with arugula is it tends to stay pretty short, and that's why we stretch it so aggressively. And even with us stretching it to where we did, it still didn't get that much taller. So you could actually even do another day blackout on this if you wanted, but I think this is a pretty good height for us. The only things I want to be careful of is whenever I go to harvest, to be ultra careful of the knife, because it is shorter. That means my fingers are going to be closer to the blade. So just be very, very careful with that. Another thing that I'm noticing is within my canopy, if I just kind of spread the top layer, I am seeing a lot of late growth here. And that's okay as long as it's not beginning to rot, which I'm not seeing. But that does tell me that I want to drop my seeding density down. I believe we did 20 grams, so I want to drop that down to 15 grams next time. But for now, that should be perfectly fine. So there's nothing to worry about there. Okay, now it is the harvesting time. So what you're going to need is a knife. We've been using this one recently. It is very, very sharp, and it does an excellent job just gliding straight through microgreens. And you're going to need something to harvest into. So over here we have our scale. We like to use the scale so we can collect the data of what we get for the harvest weight. And we've been putting a bag into the bowl because someone suggests that to us, and it definitely makes it a lot easier on us. And that way we can harvest directly into the bag. And the bowl is just kind of there so that way the bag doesn't fall over while I'm trying to do this. So let's begin the harvesting. Now what I'm going to do is gently grab this side, glides through it really nicely. Ooh, look how pretty those are. And see what I'm saying, how they are pretty short? That's just how arugula tends to be. And oh, you can smell that super peppery smell that arugula gets. This is gonna be really good on some eggs and toast. I'm really excited about that because we have not had arugula in our space in a while. Now that I'm done harvesting, let's go ahead and take a look at our weights. So I got 234 grams, which is also 8.2 ounces. So that's a good amount of product from this one tray, and I'm very happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little bit out of the bag, and we can move into talking about how it looks, and we'll do a little taste test. So like I said before, it is very short, but the overall coloration of this is absolutely gorgeous. We've got the nice white stem moving up into a beautiful green. And if you look at this one, I'll set this one by itself, you can see how pretty it looks with that true leaf. Flip it a little bit. So now let's do a taste test. A little bit for CJ and a little bit for me. Tons and tons of flavor. That is packed full of the arugula flavor. And all that spicy and pepperiness that arugula gets definitely just hit my tongue. So this is a very, very strong flavored crop. So arugula microgreens tend to have a lot of pepper flavor whenever they're at the microgreen stage. So if you want them to be more mild, grow them out for another 7 to 10 days, and that way they hit the baby green stage. I had a lot of fun growing this arugula microgreens with you guys, and I'm very happy with how everything turned out. The only things I would have done differently is I would have dropped that seeding density down from 20 grams to 15 grams, and I think I would have actually extended our blackout period for 1 additional day. But other than that, I think everything turned out perfectly, and I really, really, really hope that this video helps you grow arugula microgreens to success as well. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. And also, if you'd like to find us on Instagram or Facebook, we are at On The Grow Farms on both of those. And we have a website now that is also www.onthegrow.net. And if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it pops up down here somewhere. So have a good day, and I hope that you grow your arugula to the perfection.